These majestic, magnificent animals once roamed freely across the plains of South Africa. Now, they're more likely to be found in captivity or on a trophy wall.
Most of the lions in captivity are being bred for canned hunting.
Andy Reeve has fallen in love with lions and Glen Garriff, a reserve set up to look after captive lions in an ethical way.
They're just treating me the way they would their mom. They don't realize that I'm so fragile. Well, actually, they do a bit.
Andy now runs Glen Garriff, struggling to find the money to keep it going, fighting lawyers who threaten to sell the land, and protecting her lions from the hunting industry. Can Andy and her friends keep the dream alive? In this episode, we chart Andy's 3 years on Glen Garriff as she struggles to recover from selling 4 lions.
Oh, I can't say this because I'm going to break down.
A scientist reveals the results of a recent study into wild lion genetics,
We do have a pretty good genetic diversity in the small reserves.
which forces Andy to question whether she's doing the right thing at Glen Garriff.
We've got to have a reason. We've got to have a purpose.
And the financial woes deepen.
There's no money coming in, and I just don't know what's going to happen anymore.
Can Andy and Glen Garriff survive? Despite continuous financial difficulties threatening the survival of Glen Garriff, Andy resisted the easiest way out, selling lions. But in the last couple of days, Andy had no choice. Sell lions or go under.
And on that day, this man came. He looked at just those young boys in the one camp and said, I'll pay you 1 million rand for these boys.
4 lions, R1 million, which is about $90,000 US.
And I sat there thinking, right, now what do I do?
Andy's reason for not selling lions had been the likelihood they would end up being shot in the highly lucrative canned hunting industry. Lions are worth a lot of money to hunters wanting a trophy. Andy was assured the 4 lions would not be used for that purpose.
What he told me he wants to do with them is he wants their genes. He wants to breed their genes into his gene pools of lions that he's already got. But I'm not going to be naive and think that that's the end of the story. I mean, sitting here now, I'm talking about it, it all seems, that it was a rational thought process and it was just something that flowed. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was the hardest thing in the world.
The second hardest thing was breaking the news to Tulani, Andy's right-hand man. He's worked on Glen Garriff for more than 15 years and has grown very close to many of the lions.
So I spoke to Tulani about it because I had to tell him that I'm going to do this. He had to understand why. And not just that, I come here and I go on about looking after them and saving them and everybody's suffering and everybody's got to take, bear the brunt of the fact that we've got too few members of staff and they're not getting paid enough and we can never fix anything. A machine breaks. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't fix that. We can get the puncture done, but we can't get the pump done. We can, that's how it's always been. And they put up with this, and then all of a sudden, I'm just going to go, oh, okay, actually, let's just sell those. So he said to me, oh, I can't say this because I'm going to break down.
It's okay, you have to.
No, I'll just leave it.
The R1 million covered outstanding legal fees, but some of the other debt Andy hoped to pay hasn't been cleared.
Tax, straight away. SARS took their chunk out of that, and you want to cry and think, but for how many years there's no money been coming into the farm? We're running at a loss. We, people, you, me, friends and family, are putting money in to keep the place alive. Yet the moment a little bit of cash came into the bank, the taxman took it.
Being forced to sell lions, the very reason for Glen Garriff's existence, forces Andy to question the long-term viability of the reserve. That, combined with the pressure of dealing with the day-to-day problems, takes its toll. Andy came to Glen Garriff 3 years ago with no previous experience of managing a lion reserve or working with animals at all. But she was a trained midwife, and that came in useful in her first few months when she was faced with raising 5 premature cubs abandoned by their mothers.
All the different pieces of my work kind of prepared me for this in that A lot of what I've done with human babies has helped me here. I've really had to bring all of those skills and that experience in getting the cubs through the early weeks and months. Who would have known that I was doing that so I could actually look after lions?
By the time filming started, these lions, known as the stars, were almost fully grown and more than a handful for their surrogate mother.
So they still feel that they need to be on top of me. And they're a bit big now, but they climb. If I go into this camp behind me, I will have those two white girls climbing on top of me. And then the other stars get all jealous because they're, well, what are you doing? And so they all climb on top of me at the same time.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
After the stars came another cub, Ty.
Come and say hello. Come and say hello.
Ty was the weakest cub in a litter of 5 and rejected by his mother. If Andy hadn't rescued him, he wouldn't have survived.
He's hungry. Can we give him some food? You have to feed every 4 hours. You have to sterilize bottles, wash bottles, make the formula. Are you going to do it? No ways, big... Oh, big boy!
Ty developed a close relationship with the puppy Jazz.
Hey, Jazz. Right now, the puppy's got the better of him because she gets on him and bites him like that. But can you, in a few weeks' time, it's going to be quite different. Jazz.
But it wasn't long before Andy became worried about how Ty was developing.
Ty! You see, you make it very difficult to feed you. And if you annoy him, he wants to get on the sofa and I push him something, he goes, oh! And he'll strike, just like a big lion does. He does the strike and growl. I don't know what I will do with him exactly if he turns out that we can't be with him because he's just too vicious. Because he's going to be alone and there's a problem. I don't know, I don't want him to be alone.
Andy needn't have worried. Ty's aggression is gone. His closest friends are the dogs, Jazz and Micah the golden retriever. And his sleeping spot has become Andy's bed, day and night.
He does make my bed a mess, especially in rainy season. Luckily, it's not rainy now in winter. In rainy season, my window, I've created it that the window opens out into a camp, an enclosed area, and I planned that he would live in that camp, but it didn't work out at all. There's no way that he will stay in a camp. He goes behind a fence and he just looks at me and goes crazy, like, what are you doing? And he also knows that he can come in. So for any reason, my house door's closed and he's out there and I'm in my room. If he wants to come in, he just comes straight around to the window and he taps on the window for me to open the window and let him in. The way things are with him, the potential is, if it carries on like this, the potential is that I'm just going to have a bigger and bigger lion wandering down the road, following me to work and to home.
Cubs raised by their parents don't always fare as well as Ty.
So when Elias and Tulani brought her to me this morning, she was wrapped in the blanket they gave her to me and they said she has another cub. You know what? I just thought, oh, well, I'll just, make her a bottle, but she's wild. I wonder whether she'll take the bottle. I wonder how long it's going to take before she's okay. I wonder if Ty will go near her and lick her. That's what I was wondering. And then Michael said to me, but she's bleeding. So then I looked at her and I said, oh, she's bleeding, I better take her to the vet. And while I'm driving to the vet, I was saying to her, and I looked back. And I didn't even think she would die. I had to look back at her on the seat and think that
The cub was killed when it crawled under the wire into a neighboring enclosure, where it was mauled by an adult female. Now, sometime later, Andy still hasn't forgiven the female lion.
I haven't seen her since she killed the cub. I haven't seen her. She's just absolutely disappeared. when I drive past, I stop and I look for her, and I think it's because she's sorry that she killed the cub. I've had someone else who works with lions tell me that that we've got to breach this. I've got to show her that it's okay. I've got to deal with her, otherwise she'll never be all right with me. But I don't really feel that there's any reason. She cannot just carry on doing her thing. We don't have to be friends.
Next, Andy goes in search of a reason to continue to believe in Glen Gariff.
In some respects, I'm searching for that justification.
The decision to sell 4 lions was a big low for Andy, leading her to seriously doubt whether Glen Gariff has a future. Andy is on her way to the city of Pretoria to meet someone who may be able to give her a reason to keep on fighting for the reserve and her beloved lions.
I was very excited when I first read about you and spoke to you because in some respects, I'm searching for that justification.
PhD student Susan Miller has recently finished a study into the genetics of wild lion populations on small reserves in South Africa, comparing them with the genetics of wild lions found in the Kruger National Park.
I have looked at the genetics of the small reserves, and we deal with them all as one big population. There's no signs of inbreeding there. It's a very similar level of diversity to what you find in Kruger. And in terms of having a diverse population, as long as we now manage these reserves collectively, but we do have a pretty good genetic diversity in the small reserves.
This is not what Andy was expecting to hear. She believed there was a lot of inbreeding going on between wild lions, resulting in genetic abnormalities. It was the original reason for establishing Glen Gariff, to be a refuge for captive lions with superior genetics, and in doing so contribute to the future survival of the species.
I think there's more chance to make a difference with the small reserves in terms of conservation of the lion across Africa than there is with the captive facilities. Because if you take a captive lion and you try to release it into the wild, if there are other lions there, they're just going to get beaten up and they're not going to survive. And if they've been hand-raised their whole life, they need to be taught how to hunt, which is not a trivial matter, because it's not innate. It's a learned behavior. When they're growing up, their parents teach them how to hunt. So if you take a lion cub who's been hand-raised and you throw him into the wild, he won't have a clue how to catch anything. Because all of their play when they're little
I don't
is
entirely
involved.
agree with that, because I do see them hunting.
Okay, but,
look, it might be something small, like a hare that runs through their enclosure, or a little buck, or a pigeon, or a chicken, or a sheep, or something. But whatever, if anything moves through their enclosure.
Yeah, I haven't had your first-hand experience, but what I've heard, very few people in the science conservation world, if you want to call it that, would be happy putting a captive lion into the wild.
The issue of captive lions not being able to survive when they're reintroduced into the wild is a sensitive one for Andy, because it questions the value of reserves like Glen Gariff. Andy airs her thoughts after her meeting with Susan Miller is over.
The big lion lovers, the guys that are, really are the big names in South Africa in lions, they have said that our lions at Glen Gariff, it would be more worthwhile to just put a bullet through their head, and the money that's gained from selling them to a hunter can go into real conservation of real lions in the wild.
In other words, the only lions worth saving are wild lions. Not surprisingly, Andy doesn't agree.
I think what we should be doing is just making sure every jolly lion gets a chance at living and the best, most dignified life it can. And if we can do that and we can hang on to that for the next decade or two, maybe we'll come out and we'll get to a point where lions are being introduced into bigger land. Maybe we've got 860 hectares, have lions living on all of that land.
This is the undertaker's mortuary. It's horrible in here. And the boys try and lock me in and tease me.
While Andy is away, Kathy prepares the worming medication. Kathy first came to Glen Gariff while she was on holiday from the UK, met Andy and fell in love with what was happening here.
I've been a city girl, a London girl all my life and never ever thought about leaving the city.
Right, so now off we go and feed rubies.
And now I've never been so blissfully happy in my life.
Kathy takes special care of Ruby, a rescued lion. To her surprise, after months of ignoring her, Ruby's mate TJ now wants attention.
Here's yours. Ruby, here's some for you. And that's a nasty bit. Let's give you a proper bit. Did you eat that? God, you're a pig. This could be dangerous. Ooh, no. Don't get too close, TJ. It's all happened by accident. I've been looking after Ruby for about a year now. She was so sick when she first came. And TJ has always been completely aloof. Never come up to said hello, never wanted to talk to me. And then all of a sudden last week, he started coming up. TJ, what are you doing? Stop it! Stop it! Look what you're doing to the fence. Come and have some water instead. Come. He was quite badly treated. When he was young, he got very sick. And then he got rickets, and that's why his legs are all a bit sort of stumpy and short. But he does think he's the king of Glen Garriff. It's quite amazing. He thinks he rules all of these lions. He's got such a character. And when you hear him growl, boy, you know it's him. He's such a big boy. And I haven't had any contact with him, so I'm a little bit wary of how he's going to react with me. And you know that one claw could just put you into the next world.
So, for a once timid London girl, Kathy has developed special relationships with these scary animals. And other animals she shouldn't get so attached to, like horses that are meant to be put down. They're donated by local farmers who know Andy's always needing fresh meat for lions.
I came out on my stoop, as usual, to find this horse nuzzling all my plants, which you can see she ate all the way through. And I don't know, I just sort of thought, oh, I'll go and get it a bit of bread. And then one thing led to another, to another, to another, and all of a sudden, I'd called the food by a name. I called her Flame. She used to come to my house and stick her head through the window and whinny, and when I came out to her and fed her apples and bread, and she would just nuzzle into me. And I was very concerned about this horse, thinking, I wonder if Andy will let me keep her.
Sadly, the answer was no. Flame was old, and the lions were unsettled by having a large live animal roaming just beyond their enclosures.
It's not fair on these lions to be sitting there behind a fence when their natural prey is right there and be keeping them behind a fence. It's not right on the lions to do that.
Can you do it quickly?
When we do it.
Don't have to stay long.
No.
Because I'm very attached to her now. She comes to my house every morning and I feed her and she whinnies. I understand.
Flame was put down humanely and fed to the lions. But that wasn't the end of Kathy's horse attachment.
I got a new horse. This she is. She whinnies to me, and she's just like my old horse. She hasn't got a name, though, because I'm too scared she's going to be put down, so she's the no-name horse at the moment. She's very, very thin, and Andy says if I can build her up, we can keep her.
That was all the incentive Kathy needed.
This is my food for my horse. She loves this stuff. She has to have this special oats. And then I've got additional stuff for her. We have a knobbly one. It's got eyes, look. Oh, I must get some more carrots today.
After 6 months of Kathy's generous servings, the new horse gained weight. And a name, Blaze.
It's lovely to have a horse again. I wake up in the morning and think, oh, go and see my horse. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with keeping a horse. I've never been a horsey person. The last time I rode a horse, I fell off and got concussion for 3 days. And I got all excited again when she came, and I thought, no, you've got to be a bit careful this time, because if she's going to be fed to the lions, you're going to be broken-hearted again. But of course, it's too late. I'll be broken-hearted anyway. So that's my new horse. And I hope when you come back to film next time, you're going to see this big, fat ginger girl waddling around with children on her back. And then that really will be a lovely story to tell.
Next, Andy's advice on how to survive a lion encounter.
Never turn your back.
In her 3 years at Glen Gariff, Andy has gone from knowing nothing about lions to developing a finely tuned understanding of the way they behave and the way they think.
If a lion in the wild were looking at you, you just start licking your lips, because you at least are saying to that lion, I come in peace. If they blink at you, blink. And if the lion then opens its mouth, it's saying to you, oh, okay. And they kind of do this, I'm so lazy sort of look. So the licking lips, blinking eyes, opening mouth, do whatever they do it back at them. And if they're not doing it, initiate it, and hopefully they'll start doing it to you. Never turn your back. Ever turn your back on a lion. Royalty.
If Andy didn't set boundaries with her lions, they would overpower her. Even a young female weighs more than she does.
No, that is being rude. Do you hear me? Yes, you talk to your sister. Tell your sister she's being too cheeky. Too cheeky, because I'm human. When they back into me, put their bum towards me and hold me, that's their protection. And you be sorry, because you are loving way too hard for a human being.
Andy raised the stars from cubs, so she understands their behavior best.
Hey, what's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on here? Hey, Ponda. Oh. Talk to them. If you have to talk in human language, talk in human language. If you can, go rather a little bit more lion. You've heard other lions talk to each other. So talk to them. And you can't help it, hey? If you're standing in front of a lion, it's like people standing in front of a baby go all coochie-coo. If you're standing in front of a lion, you go, oh, you start talking to the lion. Oh, lick your lips, move your head like a lion does. Rain. See, Rain's the cleverest of them. She knows that that's the way to get out. She knows that she's waiting there because the gate's going to be opened.
There's a clear hierarchy among the stars and two more recent lions called Sienna and Tamarind. Similar hierarchies occur in a pride of lions in the wild.
Sienna and Tamarind are on the other side. They're not with the rest of the group because they're lower ranking on the hierarchy. So they're that side. They'll wait until they're allowed to come close. Rain! Oh, have they been biting you? Have they been biting you, my girl? Nicely, Fonda. Nicely. Nicely, baby. Hey, Tinder.
Andy would love to go in with them, but they're too big and too many to cope with.
The thing is, there's 7 of them here, and so it makes it very difficult for me to come in because they all want to hug me, and then they climb on me. And I just can't take the size of these lions all climbing on me and hugging me at the same time. And they're hugely jealous. They don't want to hurt me, but they'll hurt me because they're trying to get in. Everyone tries to come in at the same time. And also, at this age in the wild, the boys would go for walkabouts, and the mother would actually tell them to leave. And they have this natural breaking away from the mother at this point. That's what I read. I mean, I don't know. These are my first babies, so I'm learning what it's like to be a mother. But I read between the age of 2.5 and 3.5, don't even try and go in with them or let them come to you. They're just going through a phase. And then after 3.5 or so years old, they'll come back to being loving and love you and be with you. Hello, girl. Hello, naughty girl.
Seeking answers to the question of Glen Gariff's future, Andy and Kathy have travelled to another lion sanctuary nearby. Owned and run by Four Paws, one of the world's leading animal conservation organisations, Lions Rock has been set up to look after rescued lions and other big cats.
They're all rescued, yeah. They're all rescued. From zoos in Europe and from around the world, you know, there's really bad zoos that had to sort of shut down because tiny little cages and completely emaciated animals.
Despite the sad state the lions and other big cats are found in, almost all the rescues have a happy ending.
The fact of the matter is that that spirit and that strength inside a lion is so strong. To see them turn around and become a lion again is actually the best. It's like the cherry on the top.
As an international operation, Four Paws liberates animals from all kinds of atrocious situations. It's hard to believe, but some animals survived this bombing of a zoo in Gaza. Once rescued, these lions were transported to a Four Paws sanctuary. Lions Rock runs volunteer programs, training people to look after the animals. Today, there's a monk visiting from a tiger sanctuary in Thailand to learn how to deal with these big cats. He gets the chance to see how staff move two recent arrivals. Lions Rock also runs education programs.
Because in our culture, when we see the lion, we see something that is going to eat the people.
Animals are separated from visitors with a system of raised paths to allow views without direct interaction. It's very different from Glen Garriff, where visitors can sometimes touch the lions, and Andy has a lot of direct contact.
When I started, I had this idea that you must, you know, as soon as possible, withdraw and not be involved with the lions and let them go. Until I did it, until I actually had these babies that grew up with me. And to them, I am the person that they love and they wait for. I'm the mother figure. And if I don't talk to them, if I leave them for a week and I go to the Cape or do something, come back, they're miserable, they're upset, they don't eat. So there isn't a thing, it's not as clear cut as I'd imagined it would be and as it could be if you're only looking at it from a theoretical point of view. That you abandon them if you don't keep on giving them love.
Yeah, because naturally and normally there would be that would be the pride, that would be the environment, that would be the whatever, and yeah, that's the thing that gets to me the most is this whole human-controlled system that obviously has been developed over this period of time to the point where there's so many of these animals that need help. And as you say, and everyone's got differing possibly perspectives about that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't change the fact that they have become dependent on us now.
Seeing how Lions Rock operates and understanding the philosophy behind it gives Andy confidence in what she's doing at Glen Garriff. Coming up, there's a big drop-off in the number of guests.
And I just don't know what's going to happen anymore. And it's kind of scary.
Since day one of Andy taking over at Glen Garriff, she's had to deal with money problems. A legal case against the previous owner resulted in the reserve being under threat of sale. Contesting that in court consumed money that should have been going into the lions and paying the never-ending bills that come in. Not paying creates major problems, especially if it's for essential services like power or phones.
We do not have phones, and there's fires, and there's cows dying, and there's lions and things. And we've paid National Mobile. Have we not paid them?
Yes.
We've paid them, and they cut us off.
Too late. That's why it should be on a direct debit. I'll go and ring them now.
With the future of Glen Garriff hanging in the balance, Andy has come up with numerous ideas to bring in more money. Having paying guests was one of her first ideas, and that's helped. An arts, crafts and souvenir shop in nearby Harrismith contributes a little. Then, 6 months ago, she decided to spruce up the lodge to attract larger groups of guests. But just when they were close to finishing the improvements, disaster struck. One moment the sky was clear. Next, it's raining golf balls. Animals were caught out in the open. And back at Glen Garriff, the damage was everywhere.
The table! Every single glass in the window in the top house. No, but in the top house. Every window in the kitchen was smashed. Completely smashed, yeah.
Fortunately, none of the lions were seriously hurt. But as the hail melts, there's water everywhere, and the vehicles took a beating.
Now I look out the window and my car, it looks like some giant has taken a bloody hammer to it and smashed it to pieces.
And the storm caused a power surge which played havoc with the electrical appliances.
The surge has killed the fridges and freezers.
The power was down for days. Meat stored for later in the year had to be fed to the lions because it would have gone off. And the motor which opens the gate was damaged. The storm put paid to Andy's hopes of an immediate cash injection from visitors to Glen Gariff. And now, several months later, there are hardly any paying guests coming.
And I just really thought that we were almost there, and then all the bookings have dropped off and there's no money coming in. And I just don't know what's going to happen anymore. And it's kind of scary.
Slowly but surely, items are being repaired.
Put a new motor, and I said, but you didn't tell me I need a new motor. I've got to decide whether we can afford a new motor. Because maybe, actually, perhaps we're going to have to leave the gate on manual for the next few months because I can't afford a new motor.
Despite money being incredibly tight, Andy put some aside for Christmas bonuses for the staff.
I've drawn cash for the staff because it's Christmas next week. I'm going to give the staff each 1,000 rand. I'm going to give them each 1,000 rand cash. Just so that's 6, and then I've got another 2 that I drew for the party and presents.
There are 7 full-time staff working at Glen Gariff. Tulani oversees much of the day-to-day operations. Matapela's main job is house cleaner, but she also drives the tractor when they're burning fire breaks. Lucky, Elias and Malfan are all farmhands, maintaining fences and equipment and doing much of the hard graft. Raphael has general house duties like laundry and cleaning, and Tace looks after the garden and grounds. Glen Gariff is their only source of income, so it's very important for it to continue. And Andy is a good boss.
You're going to paint?
In Andy's first months at Glen Gariff, there was confusion with some staff names. Many have an English name and a local Zulu name. And to add to the confusion, some have names which are Glen Gariff names. Take Matapela.
Everyone called her Miriam. So I found Miriam's ID document, and her name is Matapela Mary Kumako. No, Miriam. So I said to her, but why are you called Miriam?
But turns out the previous mistress of the house gave her that name.
Everybody who works in the house, every maid that they have, they just call Miriam. I mean, for real, like it's real. You know, you think you're like in the deep south of America or something. So all the house girl is called Miriam, whoever she is. Not her, I can see.
Andy told the staff she wanted to be called Tandi, her birth name.
Because up until then, no one in my life called me Tandi. It's my name, but nobody's called me that. Until here, now, with the staff. And the way the staff here call me Tandi is actually so I find it very respectful. I really like it that they call me Tandi.
Tandi has come to pick up a dead cow from a neighbouring farm.
Cows are expensive because if they're alive, the cow's worth between 3,000 and 8,000 rand. So we wouldn't be able to afford to feed our lions, 2 or 3 cows a day at that price. The only reason we can do it is because they're already dead. Someone else's loss, financial loss. We've got walk-in freezers, and we store them as long as they weren't killed by lightning. A cow that's been struck by lightning cannot be frozen. The cells have been damaged. It has to be eaten fresh and quickly within the day that it was struck by lightning. And we have a lot of lightning here, so some days we'll get calls for like 9. We had 18 cows one day struck by lightning.
Even when there were 18 fresh carcasses, Andy made sure every one of them was collected.
They expect me to fetch a cow, and if I don't fetch the cow, they get annoyed, and they won't phone me next time. I have to keep up the relationship. So even when I don't need the cow, I'll always go and fetch one. What we tend to do is cut off all 4 legs, put those in the freezer straight away, and feed the torso to the lions if we've got a lot of cows coming in.
Next, a critical meeting with Tracy, the CEO of Glen Garriff, to see if she agrees with Andy's plans.
We have got a crisis.
On top of the financial problems and uncertainty at Glen Garriff, recent revelations have persuaded Andy to go on a trip to Sedgefield. Sedgefield is a tourist town on the coast and was home for Andy and her children before moving to the Free State to run Glen Garriff. It was a very different life when she lived here.
And I left this. I mean, it was hard. My first 5 months there were, we might not have the farm in 5 months' time. It might not be here. The lions might not be here. And I didn't want to lose this with a bit of trepidation that I left here, hoping that it wouldn't mean that I can't come back if I needed to.
New people have moved into the house, so coming back is not an option. But reliving the past isn't the reason for Andy coming to Sedgefield. She's here to see Pat and Tracy. Pat is the founder of Glen Garriff, but the responsibility now rests with his daughter, Tracy. They both need to know about the genetic study on wild lions, because it raises questions about whether Glen Garriff should continue to operate.
I went to meet Susan Miller, who's doing the genetic program, the DNA thing. She says that there's not one single reason to breed a captive lion. Genetically speaking, it's not a valid argument. It's not a reason to have them. There's enough genetic diversity amongst lions.
Do we consider her expert enough to make that decision, or do we explore that further? Because I think there's going to be mixed arguments to that.
I think that you've got to take it in that she's a scientist. Okay, this is her scientific. She sits in front of a computer. She's got the DNA. She's got all the graphs. She's got all these things that tell her what. These are the stats. I get that. I still do not feel that we're doing wrong.
They've got no use for them.
Like Andy, Pat and Tracy don't believe the only lion worth saving is a wild one.
We have got a crisis in terms of the lion population, in terms of, it doesn't matter how many are wild and how many are captive bred. It's a matter of how many are being cared for and how many are going to remain.
Yeah. But I'm looking for some kind of justification for the lions being there. That this is what we've got. We've got to have a reason. We've got to have a purpose. We've got to have why the lions are there, why are we there, and how are we going to make something of this.
Andy's been hosting paying guests on Glen Garriff, but so far they've only come for 1 or 2 days. Now she has the idea of guests staying for up to 2 weeks.
So opening our doors to the Living with Lions 2-week experience program. People come there for 2 weeks, they work with the lions, they experience the place, waking up in the morning and hearing the lions roar. If that's what they get, we might have no cubs when they're there. Who knows? We're not going to guarantee any kind of interaction necessarily, but they can hear the lions roaring. And that is the experience they'll come there for. And there's our purpose, in that people need to actually see lions, meet lions. It doesn't enter in a person's psyche, their soul, and into their being with as much as when they come there. Every single person that comes to Glen Garriff and meets the lions is moved. They all say this was a life-moving experience. This was a life-changing experience.
And to interact with them, I mean, especially the ones that are a year old, it's quite frightening, but it's really something special.
It was an important trip for Andy at a time when she's feeling very pressured to solve Glen Garriff's problems.
And I think the thing was, Sedgefield was actually seeing that Tracy and I have each other, that we operate, that we've got each other's back, that she's got my back, that I'm not alone.
And even with the burden of responsibility Andy carries for the welfare of the lions, the staff, her children and Kathy, she remains positive.
Even battling with all the issues and the stress and anxiety of the legal cases and the people and everyone that's out to grab a piece of this and rip it to pieces, even going through all of that, which is the most stress and anxiety I've ever had in my life, I'm happy every day. I'm just happy. I've got this underlying strength and contentment and power with the lions.
Kathy's bought into Glen Gariff lock, stock and barrel and given a lot of thought to what she will do if it all goes wrong.
If this does all collapse around our ears, I don't know what the future holds for me, because I won't have any money to start afresh somewhere. I can't go back to England because my pension just wouldn't even buy food. And I guess you would just have to get on with it and then just live day by day and try and get by, which is what millions of pensioners have to do. I'm no different from them. Or I might throw myself in with the lions and let them eat me, because that might be a better alternative. At least I'd still be part of Glen Gariff.
Oh no, me tatties!
If Kathy is for the lions, then she'll be well fed and well watered because it's Christmas. The team have good reason to celebrate. Against all the odds, they've survived another year.
I've got lots of booze for the chaps, and we've got a nice big chocolate cake, which they won't eat probably, but they know they take it home. And then I've got a load of stuff for the family party. I must remember to get the turkey up deep freeze, so otherwise it'll be completely buggered up. So I firmly believe that you've got to enjoy now. You've got to take chances. You can't just sit waiting for opportunity to come knocking on your front door, because it's never going to happen. You've got to be brave, a bit brave like me. Over 60, come to a new country, don't understand half the languages and stuff like that, but it's better than dying inside. And I always say to people, grab the chance, go for it.
I was telling somebody the other day, I was saying that if God gave me anything on this earth, because you're the man from God. Okay. And, yeah, to help me and to work with the lions.
Okay. Okay, you're right.
Tilani, thank you, my darling.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for
Okay.
everything.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
All right.
I'll take it soon.
What does the future hold for Glen Gariff and its lions, and for Andy and her small but totally dedicated team?
Now you can get us. These people here are the most amazing team of people that I've ever met. And it's because of these guys that the lions are alive, and that the lions are fed and they are healthy, and that this farm keeps on going.
And the garden too.
And the garden.